Hey Bat-Kibble fans, in this episode we give our hottest Transformers takes. Before the episode begins, if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing or rating the show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps out the show a lot. We also now have memberships and a Patreon, so you can join one of those to get bonus episodes, which basically turns a podcast into a weekly podcast from a bi-weekly podcast. In our most recent episodes, we talked about race car Transformers, and we debated Transformers fan matchups, like Darth Vader versus Unicron. So if that interests you, please consider checking it out. It'll support us a lot. All that being said, let's get into the episode. Thanks. Welcome to Bat-Kibble Podcast. I'm your host, dumbjake, joined as always by TFanPage101, and also joined by PerspectiveEnd.
Hello.
Yeah. Any BS Chia Pet memes this time? I'm sure the people are hungering. No Chia Pet memes last time, I think.
Have you seen the Sonic the Hedgehog Chia Pet? It looks pretty cool.
Okay.
Have you seen the Baby Yoda Chia Pet? It looks kind of weird. I don't like it anymore.
At some point, we're gonna stop mentioning Chia Pets and our
We were about to until you brought it up.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Well, at some point we're gonna stop mentioning them, and then like the membership tier is not gonna make any sense anymore.
Tragic.
Because it's called Chia Pet.
Yeah.
Tragic.
I think that'll make it funnier.
In case you missed it, we opened up memberships. So if you want to support us monetarily with your hard-earned V-Bucks, you can do that.
Yeah, we got to play Fortnite at some point, so can you please?
Yeah, I'd love to. I actually bought a Fortnite skin today.
My mom cut me off.
You disgusting fuck.
No, it's cool. It's the xenomorph, and it's just the fucking xenomorph. Like, it's not stylized. It just looks like the xenomorph.
You sound like the one kid in school that's trying to convince everyone that D&D is cool.
There's
no, cool.
No, don't worry, guys. It's cool. I play Fortnite. Fuck you.
Fortnite
Fuck
is fun.
You. No, it's not.
I bet you
cool.
money. I bet you money. The comments agree with me that
you can
Fortnite
drink
is
blue
fun.
juice.
The comments is going to be full of zoomies and alfies.
Well, that's the audience we've cultivated.
My friend.
So whose fault is that?
Fortnite is a fucking trash game, and all battle royales are trash games.
My friend played Fortnite years ago, and he was streaming it. And at some point, he did the most American thing. He looked up at the sky and said, "What's that?" and started shooting. Like, he didn't really care what it was. He just shot the sky.
How do you think Americans act, Brian?
You go on your quads or tractors. You run around in the mud.
Correct. Yep, that's what I do every day.
You make bush shine or whatever.
What's funny is I lived literally like not very far from what was known as the White Trash Bash, which was this like huge just like mudding event.
Well, you live in California, so that's like you got nothing on the rednecks I got over in my area.
Really? Do you think that California is one of the largest states in the goddamn country, dude? Like, you're thinking of California as like Los Angeles and like Sacramento.
That's all it is.
Which are these
City
two
of
like,
Angels.
little cities. California has its share of rednecks.
Yeah. We do gotta play Fortnite at some point. Fortnite is fun.
No.
Like
No way in hell.
From the battle bus. You drop from the battle bus and you shoot other people. Like, what's so bad about it? Can you just tell me why you think it's so bad?
Because it's a fucking
Besides
battle royale.
other people saying it's bad?
Can you send me a PowerPoint from
it's a battle royale.
2005?
Battle royales fucking are trash.
Why?
Because they suck. They're not fun.
What's better, like Call of Duty?
I don't really care for Call of Duty either.
This is the guy who refuses to play Minecraft, by the way.
Battlefield is better. Not Battlefield, 2142, obviously, but Battlefield is better.
Obviously.
Everyone's talking about that game.
Like, fucking One Life games are already trash, but like I played Battle Royales 2 times, and every single time I was bored out of my fucking mind. I was miserable, and then I fucking died, and it was like, oh wow, I shouldn't have wasted the last 30 minutes of my life playing this game that bored the shit out of me. Unlike fucking any other game where it's like, oh, I would have gotten 50 kills by now. I got 1 kill, and then I died.
Sorry, I'm allergic to your bullshit.
It sounds like a skill issue.
It's not a skill issue. That's the way that game plays. Is if you want to fucking make it to the end, you fucking sit there and you hide in a closet until you only have to deal with like 3 other people.
Well, that's a boring way. Fortnite is way more arcadey. That's
how you win.
PUBG.
That's how you win.
No, not.
Yes.
I mean, maybe towards the end you hide a little bit, but Fortnite it's so arcadey.
No one who wins fucking starts in the Crucible and just goes, yeah, hog wild. Fortnite is a game where you play 50 minutes. Fortnite is a game where you play 50 minutes to finish a match with 6 kills.
I don't know what he's on about.
No, you haven't played it recently. You're talking out your ass.
Fuck
I did have an idea for a bonus episode where Brian quizzes us on Canadian history.
Oh my god.
Just totally not Transformers related, but I just think it'd be funny. Because, like, the most I know about Canada is that there are provinces instead of states. And I think that's correct.
I think I'd probably destroy you.
You think you know a lot about Canada?
I don't think I know a lot about Canada. I think I know. I don't know a lot about Canada, but I think I know at least something about Canada.
Oh, he's challenging you.
I think it'd be funny.
My last
Let us
name
know
is
in the comments if you want that.
My last name is the most Canadian fucking name on earth.
All right, leak.
My actual last name is Bergen, so.
Yeah, that sounds Canadian as hell.
Yeah.
That sounds like a type of sled or something.
Exactly. That's what I think every time I hear it.
But what are we doing on today's episode?
I don't know. I don't care.
We are giving our hottest Transformers takes. Me and Brian, we're not really known for our hot takes, I'd say.
Except for one recently.
Maybe. I have a couple. But someone in this call.
I have set up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 hot takes.
Okay. So, like most episodes, perspective carrying.
His hot take is going to be that you think PerspectiveEnd sucks.
Nah. My hot take is I like PerspectiveEnd, and he's actually more positive than people say.
Holy shit.
That's my hot take.
Wow.
My hot take is
I guess we should
him.
just get to. You blocked him. I guess we should get to like probably the biggest conversation we're all gonna have is the Megatron. Should he be a gun? Should he be a tank? Sort of thing.
Actually, what's hilarious is that was going to be one of my hot takes. Not because it's going to be. I wasn't asking whether or not Megatron should be a gun. I was going to say that Megatron should not be a tank.
Okay. Let me set it up a little bit. For anyone out of the loop, recently a Hasbro designer confirmed that SS-86 Megatron is going to be a tank. And a lot of people are mad. No! I mean, everyone should have known he's going to be a tank. Like,
no, they shouldn't have. Because if they want to do a legacy version of him where he's a tank, then they should have made a legacy version of him where he's a tank. If they're doing a Studio Series 86 version, then he should not be. Well, one, I don't like. Again, an argument. I don't think he should ever be a tank. I think a tank is a completely illogical alt mode for him. But
why?
If they're making an 86 version of him, then make an 86 version of him. A tank is not an 86 version.
Before you give your take and steamroll me in this conversation, can I just say that a tank is a gun on wheels?
No, it's not.
So how is that completely... How is it not a gun on wheels?
A tank is... a lot of people kind of look at tanks as, it's like, oh, it's a cannon on treads. But actually, the primary armament for a tank is actually the machine gun. The cannon exists solely to duel other tanks. It is not the. What
is a machine gun?
It is not considered to be the main armament of the tank.
It's still there.
Break down the word machine gun for me. And tell me what word in that word might lead to you.
Yes, but you're not looking at... Megatron doesn't have a machine gun. Megatron doesn't have a coax machine gun. Megatron has a cannon. That's all he's got.
It's on there. It's just small. You can't see it on the toy.
But yes.
But really, it's that big of a deal that I mean, you're just being
That's not being pedantic. So my argument for Megatron not being a tank is pretty it's multi-layered. So one, Megatron has the fusion cannon already, right? Okay. And it can't be particularly stronger than his tank mode cannon, or particularly weaker than his tank mode cannon, or his cannon can't be stronger than it, blah, 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 blah. Because the physics of it, like a stationary gun, like a stationary cannon, is rooted to the ground. That thing can be as powerful as it fucking wants because it's entirely dependent on, like, it's rooting to the ground to keep it stable and accurate. Whereas a tank can only be so powerful before it flips itself over. And Megatron.
So should he be a gun to you?
I think that if he is not a gun, then he should be a stationary cannon.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, interesting.
I think he should be a gun. I think that he should be a gun. But I think that if he is not a gun, then he should be a stationary cannon. But a tank can only so Megatron's fusion cannon is not getting particularly more powerful because it was already really powerful, and then he's turning into a tank, so it can't get particularly more powerful without it flipping the tank. Also, Megatron.
But if it's a stationary cannon, couldn't he just stand there?
Well, if it's a stationary cannon, it could. If it's a stationary cannon, then then he would have he'd be connected to the ground. At which point, he would have the capability of having a much more powerful weapon that's physics wouldn't cause it so much backlash on him that he would flip over.
I'm sorry, all I'm thinking of is Soundwave's lamppost mode with a gun.
And then so it's not, so a tank mode isn't an armament upgrade on him. And tanks are, the Abrams is known as a speed demon, and the Abrams goes 55 miles an hour. So considering the fact that
damn,
what?
Damn, that shit goes fast.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast for a tank. If Megatron isn't an Abrams, then he's going to be able to fucking sprint faster than his tank mode.
Then why would anyone
you think
be
he's
a
going to
tank?
be a licensed tank?
Also, it's a disguise.
No, but here's the thing: is that, like, sure, it's a disguise. Wherefore? Because sometimes you'll see, like, a tank, like, parked on the side of the freeway because, or parked on a trailer on the side of the freeway. But you don't, that's not like a thing that you can drive down the street in.
What's the point of the Combaticons then at this point?
The Combaticons are combiners. There's also a difference in that no one else has fusion. A tank is unique, like a tank alt mode is fine. It uniquely doesn't make sense for Megatron because Megatron already has the fusion cannon, which is one of the most powerful, like, just armaments you can have. And a tank is going to be a speed decrease on Megatron. It's going to be a mobility decrease on Megatron, or an agility decrease. So he can't be able to, like, turn and fire as fast and get as stuck in as he could. So essentially, what Megatron is losing, he's losing speed and mobility, or speed and agility, and gaining nothing in firepower. Whereas if Megatron is a stationary cannon, he is gaining a lot of firepower at the cost of all speed and mobility. So at least there's some kind of gain, whereas a tank alt mode for Megatron specifically has no benefit. It only makes him worse.
Fictional tank. It doesn't have to be like, it has to be this real tank. That
okay, but what does a fictional tank entail other than, like, oh, hey, it's just faster because we say it is, and it's more agile than because we say it is? Like,
I don't know. I like fiction.
Yeah.
Yes. That doesn't. That.
Why would? Here's my thing about Megatron. This is a whole different argument than I even thought we were gonna have. Like, I thought you were gonna say he should be a gun. To be honest,
I do think he should be a gun. I think that a gun alt mode makes perfect sense for Megatron. Everyone who's always like, "Oh, Megatron shouldn't be a gun," he'd never let Starscream. It does
not make perfect sense.
That
is crazy.
He never.
You're relying on the person that betrays you the most.
And here's the thing. Clearly, he does. Because he did. That's the thing. He did.
You're relying on some other guy to hold you.
No, actually, every episode of G1, every single episode of Season 1 of G1 shows Megatron turn into a gun and fire himself in the opening of the show. Megatron can aim himself as a gun.
In the opening?
Yes.
So does he do it?
In the opening of the show. He transforms into his gun mode and fires on himself. But does he do it
in the actual
show?
He
still has to rely on someone holding it.
No, in the opening of the show, he transforms into a gun and mid-air fires at the Autobots on his own without being held.
But does he actually do it in the show canon?
I mean, the opening is relatively canonical. You see it all the time.
I would not say the opening is canonical.
It doesn't.
That's crazy.
The opening shows them all do stuff that they could do, except for technically the Autobots stopped being able to fly after episode 3, but they could fly in the first 3 episodes. So it shows the Autobots
If that's
flying.
the case, then it's kind of scary because they all like walk on a graph and then it gets sucked into a wormhole in the intro.
Yeah, I feel like you are using anecdotal evidence to support your argument here. That's crazy.
I would not say that
just because it happens in the intro.
I would not say that.
We're gonna give you some pins and red string.
Okay, how about this?
Map.
Megatron transforms into his gun, attaches to the bottom of Starscream's alt mode as Starscream's flying along, and begins firing at the Autobots freely. Starscream ain't pulling that trigger.
Happens in the show.
Yes, that happens in the show. That is officially in the show. Starscream ain't pulling that trigger.
Oh, that explains the Masterpiece doing that, because the Masterpiece, the old Masterpiece had a clip that would do that.
Yeah.
Once again, that's just relying on someone else. I feel like he turns into a gun because there was a fucking Japanese robot toy that turned into a gun,
and
they made it the bad guy of the series. It's not a perfectly logical.
It's perfectly logical.
I think he's a gun because that's what they had.
I need to point out that despite any logic with the gun mode, they're not going to do it in modern day. The gun laws are a little too strict, and also they don't.
They're not actually. I'm gonna
PR thing.
I'm gonna go grab it real quick. Bear with me.
They also don't want to have a gun, a realistic pistol. Yeah, they could do a fictional blaster, but you're still. Like people are arguing that it's not going to be accurate to the movie, but if it's a fictional blaster, it's not going to be accurate to the movie either.
You guys can't see it right now, but I have bought. I have this gun that I bought at Walmart for $10. It's a toy gun. Currently, it is in the brightest neon colors, and it is showing up very brightly because I'm currently sitting under blue lights.
Yeah, why does it have to be neon colors?
But so this is a very accurate 1911, actually kind of mixed with a SIG. And the thing about this thing is when I fire it, I don't know if the it's stuck.
It's jammed.
When I fire it, oh god damn it! Come out, there we go. Come out with some authority. It's not behaving right now because of course I need it to behave right now. There we go. But when
I swear this doesn't happen.
No, it's on camera, so when you see the video, you'll be able to see it. But it ejects empty casings.
Oh, really?
It is a toy gun that ejects empty casings that you can buy for $10 at Walmart. So toy guns, and I want to point out, you can put in, like, for real, you can take a 9mm round and put it in this, and it will cycle that out of the gun.
Yeah, okay.
It's so
Brian's
realistic.
Wrong. They can make whatever they want, basically.
It's so realistic,
we know
it
that.
can run real ammo.
But here's the thing. Hasbro is just not going to make a realistic gun.
No,
and put it in
they're not
stores.
interested in doing the gun.
Like,
and
that's
also,
just not going to happen. I feel like these are two different arguments. Like, that's just reality of the situation versus we're talking about how much sense it makes in the show and, like, is it even worth bothering
the executives
with?
aren't going
I feel like
to
they're
accept
two different
it.
arguments.
So let me hit you with
happen.
why it makes sense.
Okay.
So Megatron, like everyone says that, you know, he wouldn't do that because he's too proud to let Starscream do that. Well, one, like, obviously not, because it happened and it repeatedly happened throughout the show. So that doesn't mean it doesn't make sense. That's you putting your personal interpretation on it, saying, "Oh, it wouldn't happen." Clearly, it did. Your interpretation is wrong. Sorry.
Sure. Right.
But then number two, what I like about Gun Megatron. What I really like about Gun Megatron is that it is literally nothing but violence and aggression. There is no disguise. There is no crew protection. There is no there's no utility to it whatsoever. The only thing it is violence and aggression.
I'm not saying it's
What
not
do you think
violence.
a tank is?
A tank is not only violence and aggression. A tank is crew protection. A tank is mobility.
Yeah,
a tank
you're
is
just
a disguise.
adding on random shit. Like I see what you're saying, but also like you you want it to be a gun because it was a gun in the show. Like, there's no
No,
other.
I think that
you can add all these rationalizations to it, but ultimately that's the reason you want.
Here's the
No, I
thing,
think
and
it
that's
makes
fine.
Here's the thing with me is that the Studio Series 86 toy, if it's got the tank mode, I'd be fine with it as long as it comes with the accessory as the gun, and the Megatron looks clean. Like, it doesn't have too much kibble.
And that's another
it's
point,
got the
is
right
that-
shape.
If it has kibble, it'll suck.
Because
See, here's the
here's,
thing.
here's my thing.
That's another point. It's like every fucking tank Megatron has a big backpack full of treads, and if he's like, that's not 86. He doesn't have those. He shouldn't have.
But,
he should have.
but here's my thing: it's Studio Series has to compromise anyways because they're dealing with characters that have been like 10 to 40 years old. So things have changed. I mean, look at Dino. He's not the original Ferrari because of copyright issues. I mean, he never was going to be, of course, but still, they have that restriction. Same thing with Sideways. I mean, they could get the rights for Audi, but I mean, they didn't, obviously, for that. So, I mean, yes, that's a rights issue more than a law issue, but there are other things that Studio Series tend to compromise because, yeah, they're dealing with designs that are from 10 to 40 years old. So it's not, it was never going to be perfect anyways. You are never going to get
I don't think he's going to have kibble, is the thing. If they're making a new Megatron, so we've had this old Siege Megatron, which they've made, like, they've remolded and repainted like 100 times now. If they're making a new Megatron, they're going to want it to match with that Commander Optimus. Mm-hmm. Because that Commander Optimus is so accurate. He looks so good.
And
like,
he's
also
also taller than the original Voyager.
They're not going to deliver a shitty-looking Megatron with a bunch of tank kibble. They must know that people are going to be bitching about the gun mode, like we are now. So and they must know that this robot mode has to be clean as hell. Like, it's got to look like him.
So
and
my only point is that
just have to fold out.
My only point is that you can want Megatron to be this or a gun or some other alt mode, but speaking realistically to what we are now and what the common Megatron for at least G1 is, and what the executives would prefer and want in the modern day, he was never going to be a gun. So I don't know why people are disappointed that he's not a gun. And with the argument of Studio Series 86, it's not accurate. You're going to have an accurate robot mode. You're going to have probably, I'm willing to bet, a blaster gun piece that you'll be able to attach into any of the characters' hands. I mean, it's not like that Megatron's going to shrink into a gun anyways. So I mean, yes, I get that it kind of sucks that he's not going to transform into a gun like the movie. But if you think of it, none of them really transform like they do in the movies because, you know, it's a cartoon anyways.
So
that's
let me actually get a response here because you guys have been trading back and forth for a little while. That's why I think that it makes sense that he should be a stationary cannon. And you were saying like, oh, well, you just want it because it's because you want it to be the gun like G1. Again, I think that the reason it makes sense is because it's nothing but aggression and violence, and that's also what a stationary cannon would be. No crew protection, no mobility, nothing. It's just aggression and violence. A stationary cannon is that, which is why I think that a stationary cannon also makes sense for that. And a stationary cannon is a lot easier to buy an upgrade kit for that would let you turn it into a gun than a tank would be. In fact, a tank would be impossible. A stationary cannon would be like, oh, hey, I spent an extra, $30 and now I have like a handle for the stationary cannon. So it's at least a little like him.
I think the other thing is that it would be a kid's toy. Like the stationary cannon, I would love to see that. I think that would be cool. But I think another issue is that kids aren't going to really transform that to... Or let me say that again. The executives and designers might assume that kids might not want to play with that necessarily. I think they will, but I think it's also like they're kind of concerned about the Perceptor thing where, okay, you got a microscope, but not every kid's going to be into microscopes, so we'll give them a tank mode.
I think it's definitely like a brand synergy.
A tank
it's
mode,
Megatron.
I feel like, is a vehicle you could play with and have Optimus smash.
It's Megatron. Megatron is one of those characters who is like, no matter what way we sell this thing, it sells. It's Megatron, Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Starscream, and Bumblebee. And then
but if
sometimes
you
they
transform
include
it into its alt mode, I just feel like kids are going to be more interactive with Optimus Prime and Megatron if he's something that's mobile, you know?
I would also point out that Megatron
that's...
has been a tank like the last 20 times in a row. So anything other than a tank would actually be more interesting to people.
Mm-hmm.
If he was like a cannon that Starscream could like man, I mean, I can't disagree. That would be pretty cool.
I just think that the tank mode is what people know Megatron has adapted over the years.
That's what people know, but my argument has been that it's a mode that uniquely doesn't make sense for him specifically because of all of these reasons. It doesn't matter that it is a mode that they are using a lot. It is a mode that they are using because of bad logic.
I think he should just be a dragon.
Yeah,
I mean, that's Beast Wars Megatron. You can't steal his shit.
I'd like him to turn into a helicopter or a flying vehicle.
That's more interesting than a tank. That's more interesting than a tank.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not happy it's another tank. I fucking hate the tank mode.
I would take literally any other alt mode than the tank. I think that the tank mode is the dumbest. It is the dumbest, least well logic thing where it is just people going, a tank's just a big gun on treads. No, it's not. There's a lot more to it.
That's what I said. You're kind of making fun of me.
Yes, indeed. But here's the thing: is I would have said the same thing.
On treads. You're a fucking moron. It's a big gun on treads. I don't care how much you.
I would have said the same thing had you not even made that argument, because that is a problem that I've had with it. Is that people use that argument all the time, and it's not accurate. Anyways, I think we've argued this one to death. So Brian, you want to bring up the next one?
Oh yeah.
I just want to point out that I'm thinking of the Earthspark Shockwave, where he's a tank on legs, but he's got treads, so there's no point of him being on legs.
Unfortunately, that idea is just so shitty. Like, it's a cool idea, but it just looks shitty. Like, I wish it looked cooler, but it doesn't.
So I actually don't... I was thinking about this quite a lot. I can't think of too many hot takes, because, I mean, Transformers is so broad and over the years that if I have a hot take, it usually just comes and goes. And that's it. But
well, I got plenty of them, so...
What a shock. Anyways, I think for one of my hot takes is more of a recent thing.
Okay.
Because everyone was okay with this, and then all of a sudden it kind of turned. I think Transformers Prime is fine. I don't know why all of a sudden people are saying it's the worst.
Like, what was funny is I kind of came out at the same time as like hating on it, as like the opinion was like shifting at the time, which I thought I was going to get savaged for coming out and saying Prime sucks, and then like it seemed like right around that time the general opinion of it was dropping.
Yeah. When the show came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is awesome! This is amazing!" But
here's the thing: I was one of them. I legitimately, like I said before, I thought for a long time I really liked the show, and it took me failing to finish the show on 4 separate occasions and forgetting that I had done so to actually sit through and watch it and go like, "Oh wow, I hate this."
It's definitely flawed. I mean, Beast Hunters is very flawed.
Here's the thing. Beast Hunters is by far, as far as I'm concerned, the best part of the show by a country mile. It ain't even fucking close. You can't like the quality of Beast Hunters is so far above what came before it that you can't even see it with a telescope.
I still love Transformers Prime. I have my complaints about it, sure, but I don't know. I like the world. I like the designs in particular. I mean, Arcee, Bumblebee, Bulkhead.
Of course you mentioned
Optimus
Arcee first.
Prime,
Of course you do.
The first original. Yeah, Arcee.
This only motherfucker goon into Arcee as far as I'm concerned.
Arachnid.
Goon into Arachnid too. You goon into an Arachnid. Here's the thing. I think that Arachnid's design in IDW 2.0 is fucking awesome. I don't super care for her in Prime, but I think her it's okay. It's one of the better ones. I don't like the designs of general of Prime, but I think hers is one of the better. But the IDW 2.0 Arachnid fucking rules.
Yeah, I like that. I like Ratchet a lot, honestly. I thought Ratchet was a pretty cool twist. I know he's not a grumpy old man, but he kind of is.
Yeah, he is. He's grumpier than ever.
Not as grumpy. As
he's grumpier than ever.
Well, he's definitely grumpy, but not old manish.
Yes, he is. He's always on about how he's old. He's He's not in like half the episodes because he's like, I'm too old to keep.
In
fighting
animated,
like this.
he's like, my back.
He's more visually old and animated.
Yes.
In animated, they were like playing up the joke and whatnot, but like legitimately, he's never in fights in Prime entirely because he's supposed to be like so old that it's like, I'll just sit back at base. I'll sit back at base and monitor everything.
Fight against dark energon creatures in like one of the first episodes.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, that was my last ride, son.
Yeah.
I didn't even know public opinion turned against Prime.
Oh, definitely.
Like I know we all like a large majority of the fan base thinks animated is the best, but I didn't realize Prime was like getting shafted in that.
If you don't like Transformers Prime, I get it. I'm not arguing against it, but my issue now is that people are telling me that I'm wrong, I'm stupid.
You're never wrong for what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
like that's what
again,
I
issue
don't
with
care.
the fan base.
The
I
one
don't
thing
care if you guys don't like it.
The one thing that I always try and argue to people is people need to separate what is good from what they like. People think that you can only like what is good, and people think that you can only hate what is bad. No, you can hate a bad thing and love a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. What you like is an opinion.
But you're wrong and you're stupid.
Did I say? You can love a good thing, hate a bad thing, hate a good thing, love a bad thing. Either way, you're allowed to. You like what you like because that's an opinion because it's subjective. That's why saying something is good or bad. That's not subjective. There is objective quality, and saying whether or not something is good or bad. That's you assessing it. That's not you saying, "Oh, I love this thing." That's saying, "Oh, there are these qualities in it that are good." Which can be incorrect. Maybe those qualities aren't there, or maybe those qualities aren't good.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit mixed up on what you're saying here. Are you saying that some opinions are wrong? And
no, what I'm saying is your opinion is what you like, what emotionally resonates to you. It's not what is good. What is good or bad is
dumbjake is
whatever
wrong.
It is. Whatever is good or bad is whatever it is.
What is good and bad is also subjective.
No, it's not. Good or bad is objective. Like or hate is subjective.
It's like the people that have to defend the original Suicide Squad or like some of those DC films and tell me that
hey, that's a masterpiece.
You have to like this and you have to apologize to this film, and it's like I really don't.
Yeah, no, those are bad movies, but people can still like them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't make them good movies. There are people who enjoy getting kicked in the balls. They'll pay good money for that. That doesn't mean getting kicked in the balls is objectively good. It is objectively bad.
Hey, now it's getting personal.
But subjectively, they enjoy it.
Okay, let's have a little thought experiment. So obviously, like, Batman v Superman is considered a stinker by majority of people, I'd say. Say majority of people consider it to be a really good movie. Nothing's changed. It's the exact same movie.
They'd be wrong.
Okay, the majority of
people
can
like
are wrong.
it. They would be fully in their,
like, what
they'd be fully in their rights
if
to
it's
like
good
it.
or bad?
They'd be
It's
full.
always someone's opinion.
No, it's not. It's not always someone's opinion.
Yes,
I thought the Martha scene was absolutely spectacular.
Someone might say that.
People do.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they say that. It doesn't matter that they enjoy that. That doesn't make it good. That just means that they enjoy it.
But you're deciding it's bad, so that's.
I'm not deciding it's bad. It is bad. It is a complete.
Okay, that's you making a decision.
No, it's not me making a decision. It is a contrived, completely out of left field thing that is silly on its face. There are literally, I don't want to spend the next 40 minutes arguing this because I could. But there are a dozen reasons why it doesn't function in a narrative sense. This is a studied, known field.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's bad, but that's me thinking it's bad.
No, it's not you thinking it's bad.
You're saying it is scientifically bad.
It is scientifically bad.
Not real in movies.
It is scientifically bad.
That's not true in movies.
It is true in movies.
With art.
It is true in art. That's the thing. People want to put art as some magical special thing. If the fucking space shuttle explodes, oh, it was a bad fucking space shuttle. Like, art is not different than anything else.
Space shuttle is not art. What are you talking about?
Art is not
That's not
special.
his point.
Art is not special. Art is like everything else that man makes. It is quantifiable. It is breakdownable. And again, you can like whatever you like. You're never wrong for dislike or for liking a bad thing.
It's not quantifiable.
It's
just not true.
It is.
Everything about it says that's not true.
No,
release
you're just
the
wrong.
Snyder Cut.
You're just
If
wrong.
everyone on Earth said it was better, if
No,
everyone on Earth said it was good,
that's not how that
then
works.
you would consider it good.
That's not how that works.
I like how we're picking apart the entire point of this video now.
We got 20 minutes before I gotta bail at 6:00. So why don't I get on to one of my points? And this one's gonna be interesting. No one is to blame for Optimus Prime's death in the '86 movie.
Thank you.
It is not Optimus's fault. It is not Hot Rod's fault. It is neither of their faults.
Jeez.
Why is it not Optimus's fault?
Optimus, legitimately, Optimus doesn't see the gun that Megatron is crawling towards him, and he has got Megatron at gunpoint, and he is like, dude, seriously? After all you've done, for real, you're going to beg. You can't be serious right now. He's rubbing it. He's taking his moment to savor his victory over this asshole who has caused so much death and so much pain. We're like, oh, he should have shot him right then and there because he was going for a gun. Optimus didn't know that. Optimus wanted to get that last moment of fuck you, dude. Know that you've lost.
Yeah, I don't really have it. I definitely don't think it's Hot Rod's fault.
Yeah, Hot Rod. The only thing that Hot Rod is to blame for is losing. Hot Rod lost. And if he had won, then that wouldn't have happened. But you can't blame a guy for not being good enough. He tried, and it failed, but that's not his fault.
He was just trying to help Optimus.
People make it seem like he shot him. I think I made a joke in a video where it was like Hot Rod just kind of turned the gun. I think it was the Transformers the movie review where he just kind of shot Optimus Prime, and someone caught him and he was like, "You saw nothing."
But yeah, no, and here's the thing: is Hot Rod maybe made a bad mistake in instead of tackling Megatron, he probably should have just shot him in the back. He has guns attached to his wrists, so Hot Rod made a bad call there. He's like, no, I gotta tackle this guy instead of shooting him with the gun that I do have. So that is the most you can really put on him, but you can't put the fact that he lost, and you can't really put on Optimus the fact that he took a couple seconds to laugh at the dude that he hated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've always thought the hate for Hot Rod is kind of crazy.
Well, here's the thing: is that the hate for Hot Rod turned into hate for Optimus Prime because it was like, oh, well, Hot Rod didn't deserve the hate, so we need to blame it on somebody. Let's put it on Optimus. And it's like, no, neither of them is to blame.
Yeah, I just feel like that's more of a new age thing.
I'd like to point out for this episode. Sorry for interrupting. I've been doing that a lot. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
But I gotta point out that these are mostly hot takes. We've had the first one where we're kind of like, okay, we're heated, but then we kind of agreed. And then there was the second one where we're like, okay, we might disagree, but that's okay because art. And then this one we're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the most heated argument was how to interpret art.
It's not how to interpret art. That was not the argument that I made.
That's what I was arguing with you about a second ago.
That's not the argument I was making. I was just saying that you need to divorce.
No,
you need to divorce
first.
your idea of whether or not something is good or bad from what you like. You don't have.
That's what you're not divorcing the idea.
Oh, for God's sake!
I like plenty of bad things. I like plenty of objectively terrible things.
You're saying everyone likes bad things. Like
what?
You can think something is bad and still enjoy it, but that doesn't mean you're. Yeah, let's stop farting.
You can recognize something.
We're not
going to
convince each other. I think we both made our cases. The comments can argue.
All right, here's the judge. He's saying everyone give him $5.
Here's another one. It's another really small one that I think we'll either agree on or we'll be like, huh, that's an interesting point. I've always interpreted the scene where in the '86 movie the quintessons are going, guilty or innocent, and everyone dies. Everyone always goes, oh, no matter what the verdict is, then the verdict is death. I think that actually the way that it works is that it's whatever head replies, and since the death head replied 3 times, they died no matter what. But if a different head had replied, it would have been an actually different verdict.
Oh, interesting. It's the same head that replies.
It's the same head 3 times. The death head replies innocent 3 times. But there are other heads, and I think that if the other heads had replied, then the other heads would have delivered a verdict that didn't result in necessarily death.
See, here's why I think you're wrong. I don't know. I was just saying that.
That's an interesting thought. I think ultimately it's just you die no matter what.
And here's the thing. Here's the second thing. They deliver they deliver innocent all 3 times. What if they deliver guilty? Would guilty mean that you live?
Guilty means you get a slap on the wrist and you go home.
Because everyone assumes that, but again, what we have is 3 data points over and over again where it's death head replies innocent 3 times, which means that we don't really have anything to go off of. So people saying that no matter what the verdict is, you always die. No. All we know is that innocent means that you die. It could be inverted. It could be that the guilty get to go and the innocent die. Or it could be that it matters what head is replying.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I've never really thought about it.
That quintesson is going to go down. She's going to go down big time.
The quintesson. Who is that supposed to be?
I think
Trump.
The quintesson.
Trump.
But,
Imagine Trump as a quintesson.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You are absolutely guilty.
Hot Rod, you're a fraud, and you're gonna go down big time.
That's a good impression. I like that, Brett. I do have one hot take. Hopefully before Perspective has to run. This is like my main hot take. It's not even a good one. I feel like there's like hate for light piping.
Yes.
But I am a staunch light piping defender. I think it looks cool. I like the transparent plastic. I think it's cool when you put it up into the light and their eyes glow. It's the back of their head, so I don't really care if it doesn't look accurate to the character.
See, I'm very conflicted on that, because you've got the back of the head that could look disturbing and just transparent, and it just looks off from everything else, but the light piping might look beautiful. Sometimes it doesn't even work. But I think the best use of it was, the Generation 2 Legacy Optimus Prime, because what they did was it was a little slot in the back of the head that was directly behind the eyes. So you have the light piping. I think it was that figure, I could be wrong, but you have the light piping, but it's not obstructing anything on the helmet. So
I despise light piping because 9 times out of 10 light piping just doesn't work. Like you could, and here's the, I just got Masterpiece Rhinox the other day. Masterpiece Rhinox has potentially the worst light piping I've ever seen. You can literally you can shove it against a light. Like I have a flashlight and I put the flashlight straight to the back of his head, turn it on, and I'm like blasting light around his head into my own eyes, which is uncomfortable. And his eyes are barely even humming with a glow. It's nothing. There's no way to get those eyes to light up reasonably. And that's the thing is that
why do they paint over some of the eyes on the older figures? Like, what's the point? Now you just have a transparent block on the head.
Because they decided like, oh hey, we were going to do light piping, but we realized it's a stupid fucking decision, so we'll fucking paint over the eyes so that way the eyes look good. And that's my argument is always light piping looks good. Sometimes on some figures, if it's done well, a lot of times it never looks good on the figure ever, no matter what you do. But on the figures that it does look good on, it looks good a fraction of the time, whereas painted eyes always look good. Even in the shadow, in the light, painted eyes look good. Whereas with light piping, it's only if the head has only if the figure has its head shoved up a light bulb's asshole.
I'm looking at my Age of Extinction crosshairs, and that one has light piping, but you could barely see anything because it's such a small bit, and you've got the back bumper of the car going over the back of the head.
Yeah.
So you can't see anything.
If the figure has a protruding backpack, it's the worst idea.
Back kibble, you might say.
I have seen actually.
Whoa! He said it.
What's weird is that the 2 figures I think that do light piping the best actually have the smallest light collectors I've ever seen, and that would be Siege Omega Supreme and Siege Shockwave. They both have excellent light piping, and their fucking light piping are dots. Siege Omega Supreme is like more of a
Yeah.
slit across the top of the head, but Siege Shockwave is just a single dot, and those two motherfuckers collect light like no one's business and just pump it out through the eye, and that's like it's basically compromising nothing. Those ones always work. They're weirdly good.
And what's funny is that
Why
usually,
doesn't it work sometimes? Is my question.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
just
don't know what it is,
how it's positioned, and then I don't know. But what's funny, you mentioned Omega Supreme. Usually, if they have like a screen or a cover over the face, you don't really notice the light piping. I don't know if it obscures it or not, but Omega Supreme is just
Yeah,
right.
no, those two are great. They're like the two like exceptions that prove the rule. Light piping fucking sucks. On those two figures, it's great, but most of the time, light piping doesn't result in anything that you can see or get value out of.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? There
agree.
is one.
Sometimes it didn't work for me.
There is one that it does really work on, Animated Shockwave, because his face transforms. He's got a cover that that blocks the eye when it's in long arm form, and then when you transform it into the robot, that eye lights up with the light piping.
So I sadly I kind of want to like jump off this and onto my last one because we promised it last week, and if I have to go in 10 minutes, then I have to get this one in.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about light piping anymore.
Yeah. I think that Transformers should have paired reproduction, not necessarily sexual reproduction, but they should have two Cybertronians that get together and by a method of some kind of paired, in a way, mating, they produce another spark.
Hell yeah, brother! Hell yeah! We gotta have Transformers sex.
I obviously don't think there should be like any kind of it should not be analogous to human sex in any way. I think that personally my personal interpretation is that like they put their two sparks like close enough to each other that like the protons and neutrons like flying around them can like slam into each other and create a like new spark between the two sparks.
Oh, there's gonna be some slamming. I'll tell you that, brother.
I think that that's the way that should work. But the reason I think that is that one, again, like I clearly want, I think that Cybertronians should be more human, and by giving them paired mating, that gives them that
Some
connection
sort
to
of
humanity.
humanity.
It also lets you incorporate like family units, which just can't like if you grow out of a stump in the ground like they do in a lot of them, then there's no family, there's no brothers, there's no sisters, there's no mothers, there's no fathers. So you can have like families and dynasties and whatnot without like some kind of convoluted workaround that doesn't quite translate and doesn't quite mean the same thing. Like in IDW2, they kind of have family units where you have your mentor, who is a Cybertron who's assigned to you at creation to raise you, but like it doesn't hit the same. It does like when Bumblebee's mentee dies in that, it doesn't feel like someone just lost a child. It just is like, oh hey, this guy that I knew that I was supposed to be kind of responsible for, they're gone. So I think that family units being brought in thanks to paired reproduction adds a lot to the franchise. It humanizes them more. It adds in emotional depth, and it also it gives you access to like some like potentially like army building stuff, like oh hey, maybe like we beat the Decepticons, but they all went off to this fucking moon over here and they've been gone for like 1,000 years. Oh shit, they have an army. They didn't need to be on Cybertron to make an army.
Okay. I staunchly oppose this hot take. I definitely disagree on every level. I wouldn't mind a universe where this happens. I mean, if someone wrote it, I would read it and be interested at the very least. But I really feel like there's no need to humanize them to that level, to that degree. I think protoforms could be interesting. I think the idea of found family and love just for love is interesting from Transformers.
Well,
And,
I don't think that this takes
as
away from
humans,
that.
we have like the need to reproduce, so that kind of fuels our love.
But the hatchlings keep
Transformers
dying.
they don't require that. What do you say?
The hatchlings, they keep dying.
What are you talking
He's
about?
talking about the
Revenge of the
Transformers
Fallen.
movie.
Oh, the fucking... We need to watch that. I forgot all about the Starscream eggs.
Yeah,
but
they clearly in that have some kind of weird reproduction cycle that doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if there's lore or something about that in like one of the comic books.
I don't know. Do I really want to look into that?
But I just It's what I was talking about with you earlier. Perspective is like you want them to be very human-like, and I think it's fine if they're human enough to relate to them, but I don't want just copies of humans as robots.
I'm not saying necessarily copies.
I mean, they're defined as a species.
I would point out something like that would be kind of different about this is that since they're robots and they're sparks. And my idea for mating is that it wouldn't necessarily have to be like a man and a woman. You wouldn't need a male and a female
That's
transformer.
True.
You would just need two sparks that could create. So you could have like a whole like different like way of it. I'm just saying. I think bringing family units in and I think that adds a lot. I think that the ability to create more Cybertronians, regardless of whether or not you have connection to the planet, because in a lot of Transformers mythos, you have to be on Cybertron to get a Cybertronian. There's no other way to do it. I think that adds a lot. You could have like different societies like evolving. Like it begs the question, like if in IDW, Cybertronians have to be created on Cybertron, how the fuck did the colony worlds work? I think they answered that. I can't remember, but I think they might have. But you still have to come up with a workaround for that rather than just saying, oh, well, two Cybertronians can reproduce.
It's not a workaround. It's lore. It's like coming up with the history.
Well, it's not so much lore when it's directly saying, like, no, you have to be here to have this work. This is like the society is dead because this place doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, well, we have these other. Right. So like when it's that definitively stated.
Better, I agree.
When it's that definitively stated, it's a workaround as opposed to, it's lore. But I think that family units are a thing that sorely is missing from the Transformers. Like Sideswipe and Sunstreaker
Have you read the new
Sideswipe and
the new comic book?
Sideswipe and Sunstreaker are brothers, but that doesn't make any sense based on what we know of G1.
Yeah. In the new comic book, they talk about clans a lot. Clans are part of the lore in that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of like what you're talking about.
Clan,
like, it's not just Autobot clan or Decepticon clan.
A clan means a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean like a family unit.
I mean, it's implied to be like a family in the comic.
A clan like also adopt like even in human history, a clan also like adopts other people and absorbs other groups and whatnot into the clan.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
that doesn't necessarily mean much.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. I don't like that T-Fan Page 101 guy.
Oh my god, yeah, he's such an asshole. Anyways, so I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, let me wrap up the show. Thanks for watching.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Brian, you did not say anything on my last hot take, like at all.
Oh,
he just said, "Ooh, yeah,
yeah, brother, sexy, yeah." That's my take.
Brian, can we get a real take? Come on, man.
Oh my god. Okay, here's my real take. I think it would be interesting to see families and how that, like how their relationships are and how they kind of like feud against each other or band together. Like, do they keep secluded or do they join the Autobots, Decepticons, or how would that work?
Oh yeah, that brings in like family betrayal too.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, it's gonna be Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare.
Okay, is that your take?
Yeah, that's my take.
Can I wrap up?
I want to drink this Coke.
Okay, thanks for listening, watching, whatever you did. We really appreciate you. Please check out our Patreon and YouTube membership. Join the Patreon if you listen on Spotify. That'll be the best alternative for you. And obviously, YouTube membership is best for YouTube. Last week we did a bonus on matchups. We did fan matchups, death battles, I guess you'd call them. And that was a ton of fun. So thanks for listening.
You should have put that in the title of that video.
Well, I didn't, and it's doing really well compared to last week's. But thanks for listening and watching, and we appreciate you big time. We'll catch you in the next episode. Bye. See you
later.
Bye.